Now, in other news, every year many people experience a sudden hearing loss, but many ignore it, thinking it might resolve itself. Now, a new study has found that urgent treatment could save their hearing. Now, the Pope has wrapped up his visit to Indonesia and on Friday heads to Papua New Guinea. Pope Francis drew more than 80,000 to a mass on Thursday, filling Indonesia's national stadium. Indonesia is the world's most populous Muslim-majority nation, and the Pope visited the Istiqlal Mosque, where he talked of dialogue, mutual respect and harmonious coexistence between religions. Now we end with a bit of sports news and an underdog story. San Marino have won their first competitive football match in nearly a quarter of a century. They beat Liechtenstein 1-0 in the European Nations League. The microstate has a population of about 30,000, and the team is made up of mainly part-time players. They're at the bottom of FIFA's rankings at 210th, while Liechtenstein is ranked 199th. This is San Marino's second ever victory, and they play Moldova next week in their next match. We wish them luck.
Tackling the small boats crisis, the Home Secretary holds a summit aimed at destroying the criminal gangs which smuggle people across the Channel.
Plans for the UK to ban a so-called zombie drug, which it's claimed has killed thousands of people in the United States.
Overcrowding, violence and self-harm. We go behind the scenes of Britain's crisis-hit prisons.
We are live at Scout Park in North London, where they're celebrating the appointment of the new Chief Scout, Dwayne Fields.
We'll take a look at the papers now. The Guardian's reporting that prosecutions relating to the Grenfell Tower fire may not happen before the end of this decade. It's quoting the former Chief Prosecutor, Ken MacDonald, who warns that delays in the justice system mean that unless processes are massively expedited, justice is a very long way away.
Let's have a look at the Metro, leading on the inquest into the death of Steve Diamond, who took an overdose after appearing on the Jeremy Kyle show, in which he was accused of being a liar. Mr. Kyle told the inquest he was just the host of the show, not in charge of its production or the aftercare of guests.
The Daily Mirror says that a monument honouring Queen Elizabeth II is to be announced this weekend to coincide with the second anniversary of her death. The paper says the sculpture will be in St James's Park, which is overlooked by Buckingham Palace and unveiled in 2026. Several papers, including The Telegraph, have another royal story on the front page, reporting that Prince William is sporting designer stubble, heralding a possible return of the beard he wore over the summer.
So, after this week's publication of the inquiry into the Grenfell disaster, what about those people still living in unsafe buildings?
Ben's taking a look at this for us now. And this is something that we're all learning so much about after phase 2 publication of that inquiry.
Yes, there were so many elements to emerge from the inquiry, and this is one that affects so many people, which is why we're looking at it this morning. Let me explain. Good morning. The tragedy has kick-started the movement to make buildings safer, but lots of residents say it's not happening soon enough. Since the night of the Grenfell Tower fire in 2017, more than 4,000 high-rise buildings in England have been assessed as being unsafe. Some still haven't been fully examined, so this figure could become much higher in the coming months. Work to make the buildings safe has started at almost half of those already identified as unsafe. Just over 1,000 have had the work fully completed, so just about a quarter. One construction firm predicts it could take another 5 years for the remaining buildings to be made fully compliant. And in the meantime, thousands of people are still living in unsafe housing.
At 6, a man is jailed for 9 years, the longest prison sentence so far after the wave of riots in England and Northern Ireland last month. 27-year-old Thomas Burley, a painter and decorator, helped fuel a fire outside a hotel housing more than 200 asylum seekers in Rotherham.
Oh, what a story!
Also tonight, Britain's most successful ever Paralympian, Dame Sarah Storey, wins her 19th gold in Paris. A huge rise in the cost of a first-class stamp to £1.65 for a letter from next month. Top Gear's Chris Harris criticises the BBC as he speaks for the first time about the crash that left his fellow presenter Freddie Flintoff badly injured. And good news from the Farne Islands. Northumberland's puffin population is on the up, despite being hit by bird flu.
On BBC London, scared to go to bed at night, Londoners tell us about their fears living in buildings that still haven't been made safe since the Grenfell tragedy.
A Royal Navy serviceman who was killed in a helicopter crash has been named as Lieutenant Rodri Lation. The Merlin Mark IV helicopter ditched in the Channel during a night flying training exercise. Lieutenant Lation's family said he was a talented, passionate, strong and loyal man.
An ongoing cyber attack on Transport for London knocks out some services. Plus, doing the time warp for more than 50 years, the creator of the cult classic Rocky Horror Show says it's more relevant than ever. A man has denied the attempted murder of a 9-year-old girl and 3 men who were injured in a shooting outside a restaurant in East London. The girl was seriously injured when a motorcyclist opened fire as she was eating dinner with her family at the restaurant in Kingsland High Street in Dalston in May. And 4 drivers have been fined in central London after they were caught doing car stunts less than a mile from Buckingham Palace. They were captured on CCTV just off Pall Mall performing so-called donuts at an unregistered car meet. Westminster Council says it's seen a rise in incidents and is cracking down.